Welcome to the Baseball Insiders. I am Adam Weinrib, joined today, as always, by Fansided's MLB Insider Robert Murray. And for the person who says he joins this show just to see what hat I wear, I picked you out a good one. Gave you a winner today. It's the Louisville Bats Mint Juleps Kentucky Derby Edition hat, because that's actually where I'll be on opening day. I will be in Cincinnati. I'll be in that region. It's weird. I'll go live from the Cincinnati Reds opening day parade on Thursday. So that means we have to do our show today, Robert Murray, where we predict all we can predict about the upcoming MLB season. And I try to see if for the second straight year, I can deliver you the second place NL Cy Young finisher instead of the first place one. Robert, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. What a way to start the show here. The fact you're going to be in Cincinnati for opening day is going to be pretty electric. Can't wait to see what you do there. But, dude, life is good. We got plenty of stuff to talk about with opening day. Obviously, the Shohei Ohtani stuff is kind of dominating the headlines right now. Not great, but we'll dive into that. Adam Weinrib, how are you?
I am good, and I'm going to read, ironically, a betting ad before we get going, but I'll keep it quick because we do want to do our full preview, and we also want to touch on Ohtani before we go. We don't want to touch on it too heavily. We don't know much yet, but what we do know deserves mentioning, because you can't do a season preview without acknowledging that, oh, by the way, the face of baseball, the most famous player to move this offseason, did in fact have his best friend fired by the Los Angeles Dodgers at part of a scandal that we do not know the full breadth of yet, which MLB is investigating, which Ohtani is giving a statement regarding later today. It's a prepared statement, not taking questions, probably not going to learn all that much. This podcast should still be relevant, but for now, Baseball Insiders is proud to be partnered with DraftKings. We are offering a fantastic sign-up bonus for new users. New customers can place a $5 first bet on any sport to instantly claim $150 in bonus bets when you sign up with our code Baseball Insider. I am sure the comment section is popping off right now with irony, but I can't see it because I'm reading the ad read. The best part is you'll receive your rewards even if your first bet loses. Using our code Baseball Insider not only gets you these bonuses, but it also directly supports our podcast. If you've been considering signing up for DraftKings, make sure to use the code Baseball Insider to maximize your first bets. This offer is only available to new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer to see if you qualify. And if you aren't joining us in our Discord server yet, why not come join the Discord? Now is the best time because we're gearing up for the All-Star break. In mid-season trade deadline and all the times in the middle of the baseball season where player movement is still paramount. So join us there. And as Robert always says, you could be the most informed fan. These days, we still got one top 30 free agent on the market. At least Jordan Montgomery has yet to find a new team in opening days in 3 days. So hurry up.
No, we need him to hurry up because the fact that figured today's date is March 25th, and Jordan Montgomery is still unsigned is ridiculous. It's crazy. I did see the Jim Bowden tweet the other day that kind of sort of indicated that there's progress, that there's multiple teams that are involved. I mean, maybe there's multiple teams involved, but yeah, it's weird that, like, I can't even imagine either the fact that he's been seeking a long-term deal this long and has not gotten it. I can't imagine some team is going to end up just offering him that long-term deal that he seeks. Otherwise, this deal would have ended up being done a while ago. So my guess, and this is all it is as a guess, is when he eventually signs, it'll be a short-term deal. Clearly, with opening day being this week, he will not be ready to join the rotation right away. That's also another thing that these teams got to factor into this thing as well. If this ultimately is a one-year deal, you're going to have him for not the entire season. So just a totally complicated issue here. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't think anybody in baseball does, because I have literally gotten so many different texts from people in baseball asking me, where's Montgomery going? And I'm like, you tell me. And they're like, you tell me. And like, nobody knows. It's crazy. It's wild. I can't remember another big name free agent quite like this, but it's the reality. And he's not going to have a team come opening day.
I never would have guessed that he would be the lone holdout, but I guess it's the long-term nature of it all, and now finally having to settle on something else. You got the O's rumored in the mix. You got the Diamondbacks who lost Eduardo Rodriguez. Those teams make perfect sense. I think we're going to be touching on those teams a bit later if I had my suspicions. Before we really get rolling, just the elephant in the room, baseball did not need the Shohei Ohtani interpreter nonsense. They certainly didn't need it between games 1 and 2 of the Seoul series. You could see Ohtani and Ippei Mizuhara in the dugout joking with one another after game 1, at the tail end of game 1. And then, between the 2 games, one is fired. He's accused of massive theft by Ohtani's camp. The statements are changing. The statements that ESPN received don't make sense. They're incongruous. Ohtani speaking today, but not really taking questions. Dave Roberts says this will not be a distraction. Feels like a distraction to me. So I'm not sure if you know more than I do, but regardless of what we do and don't know so far, not off to the best start out in Los Angeles.
No, and it's Dave Roberts' job to say that it's not a distraction, because he can't let it be a distraction, but it's going to be a distraction. We've seen how much media has been there since Shohei Ohtani signed with the Dodgers. And then we got to see yesterday for Dave Roberts' press conference and how many cameras were there just for that gathering in the dugout. And there's the media attention around it, the amount of questions that are had around it. This is going to be a distraction, and it's good that Ohtani is talking to the media today. You heard Dave Roberts say it's good that he's going to be answering questions, and we'll finally get some clarity from his end. And then a day later, Ohtani says he's not going to be taking questions and is just reading off a statement. I'm curious to see exactly what his statement says, but I'm going to imagine it's not going to be saying too much, which is just going to only let those questions linger further and further. Not good. We know there's so many more questions than answers at this point, and I really don't know when those questions are going to get answered. I don't think anybody in baseball does, but this is easily the biggest storyline, and that's really disappointing because opening day, it happened for the Dodgers and Padres already. The rest of the 28 teams still haven't had it, and yet we're not talking about that. We're about to, but most of baseball is talking about the Ohtani and Ippei situation going on here and the allegations there, and it's not great. They remain adamant that Ohtani was not betting, that he was not the one. And you talk to people who have been around Ohtani, and they continue to suggest that he's just hyper focused on baseball. He hardly focuses on any of the other sports, if he does at all. And we'll see what all surfaces here, but this is just the craziest storyline. I don't think anyone could have ever seen something like this coming.
We should know more tonight, but we might know less based on the last time Ohtani's camp gave a prepared statement to somebody, ESPN. It changed the narrative and didn't clarify much of anything. It muddled the narrative, if anything. So we'll see what Ohtani does say tonight. That does not, however, factor too far into our season preview, our division by division rankings. Who we believe earns a bye past the wild card round, who sneaks into the wild card round, who takes those wild card spots, who ultimately takes home the World Series. We're going to be doing all that, touch on awards predictions by end of show 2. And we'll start in the AL East, where you can go ahead and give me the Baltimore Orioles. I think if everything clicks in New York, we should not sleep on the Yankees and Juan Soto. You and I have talked in previous episodes how we think Juan Soto remains somewhat underrated, especially when deciding this team's fate. But my AL East hot take is not that I think the 101 win team from last year, who swapped Felix Bautista for Craig Kimbrell. Yeah, the closer got worse. I still think the Baltimore Orioles are going to be just as good this year as they were last year. My hot take is I think the Blue Jays are more likely to finish in last place than the Boston Red Sox are. I know that's conventional wisdom is being bucked there, but I do not believe in this Blue Jays bounce back whatsoever. We'll see. Neither team screams division champion for sure, but when you're talking 4th versus 5th, give me the spunky Red Sox youth over the Blue Jays youth swiftly becoming veterans seeking new contracts elsewhere. One pitching injury, if Kevin Gausman doesn't rebound right, all of a sudden that Blue Jay season looks much worse. But where are you vibing?
Yeah, so here's where I'm at. Is I totally agree with you on the Orioles being the team to beat in that division. I think they end up winning that division. The team that I think that has some bust potential is actually the Yankees.
Give it to me.
And here's my reasons. One, I don't think their pitching staff has enough depth or even high-end depth. I think they absolutely could have used another starting pitcher, a Montgomery or a Snell type. And obviously they couldn't add one of those guys unless they wanted to dip into that luxury tax, the 110% tax. And I don't think that was ever something they were really eager to do. And then the injury potential for an Aaron Judge or a DJ LeMahieu or some others. I mean, they're entering the season here with some injury risk. And I'm not saying, this is not me saying that they're going to finish in last, but they have that kind of potential if things go wrong. Oh, yeah. I think I agree with you, though, that the team that I also agree with you on the Blue Jays thing. I like that. To me, they got worse this offseason, and they swung hard for Ohtani, and they were also linked to Juan Soto, and they came up empty there. Like their roster now is worse than it was last year at this time. And
yeah,
I agree with you, but the Orioles to me are the team to beat.
Orioles are the class of the division. Jackson Holliday not going to start the season in Baltimore, but he'll be there soon enough. They can explain it away however they want to. I do think we'll see him sooner rather than later, but Baltimore just too talented right now. You never know how a season's going to go, but too talented to pick against. And that's kind of how the AL Central is for me too. At this point, the Twins have too much firepower for me to pick against them. I've been trying to find. Last year, I was in love with the Diamondbacks, and I had them on helium alert. I had them in the playoffs. I think most didn't. This year, it has been way tougher for me to find that team, and I feel like too many people think the Tigers are that team to take a year-over-year leap under A.J. Hinch. I like what they've done, and I like the youth in Detroit. Spencer Torkelson needs to be way better. Tarek Skubal is, for many, a Cy Young favorite, and I think he showed this spring that he has Cy Young upside. I like the Tigers. I just feel like there's a little bit too much heat on them right now. They're, for me, an above 500 team. They're going to be in the wild card race. Best case scenario, they're a little bit better than that, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and say 89, 90 wins for the Detroit Tigers. I think they're better than they were last year. I get why people are on them, but for me, it's the Twins.
Yeah, I think it's the Twins for me for sure. Like that team to me, I mean, when you have that kind of talent and also like the unit on that team that I really like and the amount of options they have is their bullpen. That is something that I think is not getting a lot of attention outside of Minnesota. And I think their options in the bullpen are really, really good. They obviously have some really high-end pieces throughout the roster. I also, Pablo Lopez, I mean, enough said with him. I'm a huge fan of his. And having Carlos Correa obviously helps too. I'm going to go with the Twins, and they could win that division by a pretty decent margin here is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think Royce Lewis establishes himself as sort of a next level star this year. Twins fandom is funny. They're all freaking out over Byron Buxton's injuries at this point. That's somebody you just have to accept is probably going to give you injuries in between really premium play, and you don't really need him to win the Central right now. We'll see where they're at when they get closer to the postseason. I like what the Royals did too, but again, not a playoff team for me at this point in time.
No, I agree. And also I will say, like the Royals, like I absolutely love and respect what they did this offseason. One, obviously getting Bobby Witt Jr. extended, but also adding the amount of veteran pieces and spending on that roster. Obviously, got to imagine some of that spending was due to trying to get the final push over the stadium deal, which totally get it. But I respect that they tried and they spent. And if they wanted to, if they fell out a lot, they could end up being a really interesting team at the deadline. Having obviously like a Michael Wacha immediately jumps to mind, like the starting pitchers they added. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is not going anywhere, but they did some good things this offseason. Like they're going to be better than they were last year for sure, but I'm still thinking probably not a playoff team.
The Guardians, too, I'm watching at the deadline. These are teams that, Kansas City did what they had to do. You want to ask everybody to compete. They did, but there is a chance that we do see some of that competitive spending turn into a deadline fire sale. The AL West was the toughest for me. I think the toughest division in baseball for me to predict. A lot of people picking the Mariners to make noise. Every year we're going to do that until they actually do break through and win the division. Too many people are disregarding the Astros right now. They're the Astros every single year, and they've made the ALCS every single year since 2017. It would be very easy to envision them doing that again. I think the Rangers lineup could be the best in baseball. Now, here's where we have a problem. Seattle did not go the extra mile this offseason to reinforce that offense. They might have gotten worse trading Eugenio Suarez. Houston's pitching is more lackluster than it's been in recent years. Verlander, a question mark, not starting the season. McCullers, a question mark. Urquidy, a question mark. They didn't sign Blake Snell. The depth isn't there. Texas's rotation to begin the season is even worse. they get Max Scherzer back midseason and Jacob deGrom at some point, but do you really trust that you're going to get deGrom back? And what is Max Scherzer at this point after we saw him last October? I'm going to go the Rangers by a very thin margin just because I believe in that lineup so heavily. But the flaws on all the contenders here are very real. But also, any of these three teams could be the best in baseball. They could be a World Series representative at the end of the year if things click. So I had a really tough time here. I think that the Langford, Semien, Seager, Evan Carter grouping is too strong for me to just even care too much about the Rangers pitching depth.
Yeah, honestly, this was probably the hardest decision of them all. And you're picking the team that just won the World Series. They have a veteran manager in Bruce Bochy, who I love. Grew up a Giants fan, so I know exactly the kind of power that Bruce Bochy has and getting those teams ready and performing in the regular season here too. And I'm still going with the Astros though. And, I mean, that team to me, they have questions in the rotation right now. And that's the number one issue that's kind of hovering over their heads right now. Especially, it also, they realized it internally with the pursuit of Blake Snell, but it just never got to a price point that they were really comfortable with. Although I would imagine it got closer with him taking the kind of deal that he did with the Giants, but just didn't get to that point. But I still think that team, they have good rotation options. I mean, they have guys who can fill that spot, but bullpen, they also have their offense. I mean, they have. I just think that's a team where you can't really underestimate them, and I'm going to end up going with the Astros. And I will say another part of this too that kind of, I don't know, gave me some pause in going with the Rangers here was exactly what you said with the rotation questions, specifically when DeGrom returns, when Scherzer returns, and what that rotation also looks like without Jordan Montgomery for the first half of the year. Like, there's a lot of questions that are there, and it's just, who knows when those guys are back, where the Rangers are standing in the division. It's a huge question that they have to answer, and we don't know. But I'm just going with the Astros. But it's going to be close. It's going to be very close.
It's going to be very tight. You talk about rotation questions. You don't even know if Nathan Eovaldi is going to be there all year. You don't even know if he's going to be available to be joined midseason by a DeGrom and a Scherzer. So, yeah, this could go very wrong, and we're not picking right now who wins a playoff series, which lineup is strongest 1 through 9. We're picking a division champion. It's tough. I'm going with the Rangers. I'm not trying to act like I'm being a hero by picking the defending World Series champions, but it was tough. Not disrespecting the Astros whatsoever. I think this will be extremely close.
Yeah, although the Oakland A's disrespect is flying through here. I can't believe you disrespect the A's like that, Adam. What the hell?
I am, in fact, the disrespect. I apologize. The disrespect to Oakland was extremely intentional. I don't respect that. So I apologize.
Same with me. It was very intentional because, they might finish 50 games back in that division. Holy cow!
And they're trying to, and they're absolutely trying to. So,
although it's weird, like they like it's like half their rosters old San Francisco Giants at this point. They got Alex Wood, they got Ross Stripling, they got JD Davis, who are actually like good players. Don't get me wrong, but the rest of that roster, gigantic. Not looking great.
No, Zach Geloff, my man. Like I'm excited to see him play a full season this year. I will be watching his highlights at the very least, but no, I will not be picking Mason Miller and JP Sears and Mitch Spence and the A's. There's a lot of ex-Yankees on this team too, but I don't think that roster is very good. NL East, I believe that the Atlanta Braves are the class of this division. I don't know if the Atlanta Braves are going to be the furthest NL East team to advance in the postseason. I personally, if you put my hand on the stove right now, would say yes, and I'll get to that later. But for me, no need to overthink it for now. I think the Atlanta Braves are built for the regular season, and they do win the NL East.
I'm going to overthink this. I had to at some point because I remember last year, you and I were so aligned on these predictions. We were saying, oh, this is the easiest season ever to predict.
Oh, so bad.
It couldn't have been any worse. And this year, while you're zigging, I'm going to start zagging here. I'm going with the Philadelphia Phillies. The talent on that team, offensively and in the rotation, I mean, they're loaded. Obviously, there's questions surrounding Taijuan Walker seems like on an annual basis, we're always talking about the state of the Phillies' bullpen here. And that gives me a little bit of pause. Obviously, Dave Dombrowski can maybe do some work with that at the deadline, but getting rid of Craig Kimbrell in the 9th inning, I think, was a good thing for them. They have some young options in that bullpen that they're really high on. They obviously just extended Matt Strahm as well. So I really like what the Phillies have done. I also really like their manager. I think just they have the feel of a team that should win that division. Maybe they don't. Maybe they beat the Braves in the division again, or in the playoffs again for a 3rd straight year. But I think this is the year they finally overcome the Braves in that division and win it. I could end up looking like a total idiot at the end of the year, but I'm going with the Phillies.
The idea of Shohei Ohtani's Dodgers going to Philadelphia still warms my heart at night. I do think that's going to be a real tough test for them in the postseason at some juncture, and it's not getting any easier because I tell you what, you know who's not going to forget the current scandal? Philadelphia fans. No chance.
No, they do. They don't forget. They do not forget. I see the comment here from Living for I'm One. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that has something to do with my Eagles fandom, maybe. But I promise that's not biased. I'm not choosing the Phillies just because of that. But I genuinely think the Phillies win that division. I could end up being wrong. Been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But yeah, I'm going with the Phillies.
Yeah, I've been wrong on this podcast repeatedly. I'm a huge Atlanta Falcons fan. I did allow that to bias my pick. No, I hate them. I wish they had defeated the Patriots. It still haunts me. The only loss by a team that I don't root for that still haunts me. I wake up and I go, how would you do that? So yeah, no, biased against Atlanta, if anything, and I still think the Braves are the class of the division. NL Central, it's almost the opposite of the AL West. Like AL West, you could have argued Astros, Rangers, obviously Mariners. You could make a case. NL Central, you can make a case for any of these teams, and I know a lot of our listeners and viewers are going to make a case for the Pirates. I can't quite do that. A lot of people are making the bounce back case for the Cardinals. You want to talk about a team that didn't add high upside rotation options. The St. Louis Cardinals are certainly in that bucket. I would have picked the Cincinnati Reds 2 weeks ago, and I'll be down there for for opening day. That's why I was so excited for that season. The whole roster's down by April 1st. Matt McClain, we get the word on whether he needs surgery soon. It's a massive loss. TJ Friedl going to be out for a month and a half. The spark plug, Noel V. Marte, suspended for 80 games. That's a blow. The other Edwin Arroyo, the shortstop they got also alongside Marte in the Luis Castillo trade, down for the year, shoulder surgery. I'm picking the Chicago Cubs. I am. Although, man, it's the Reds if their whole roster isn't gone. It's close, but nobody's running away with that division, in my humble opinion. You can make a case for a lot of these middling teams. I don't really think I could easily make a case for the Cardinals. To be honest, I feel the same way about the Cardinals I think you feel about the Yankees, but who are you going with here?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going with the Cardinals. Watch, that's going to be clipped, and I'm at the end of the year.
We're going to be wrong. We're going to be wrong. It's the Cardinals. It's the only team that I said would not win this division, and I'm sure they will. But yes.
Oh yeah, like the devil magic there is a very real thing with the Cardinals. So I'm once again I'm gonna zig while you're zagging. I'm going with the Brewers, and I can already imagine the comments, especially from Jacob Zanola, are not going to be very happy with that. But my reasoning is this. Their offense is really, really good. They did not trade Willie Adames. They signed Rhys Hoskins. They have a bunch of young outfielders on that team. They have just also a catcher in William Contreras, who's coming off of a really, really good year that they're going to try to build around. And they also have Gary Sanchez too, and possibly DHing him, and they can DH a bunch of different guys. And the one thing that gave me pause with this is the state of the rotation, because the Brewers, their strength has always been the rotation. And this year they don't have Corbin Burns. Brandon Woodruff isn't pitching the entire year. There's more questions than answers in that rotation. I don't think it's impossible that the Brewers add another arm before opening day or at some point. That might be too strong of a tease, but like the Brewers, they're still open to adding another pitcher. I will say that. But I still think the Brewers win it. I think Pat Murphy ends up beating the guy that he mentored for however long, and Craig Counsell and the Cubs. Who knows what happens come playoff time, but I think that the Brewers end up winning that division. I will say this. the team that I think is going to end up being pretty decent this year is the Pirates. The Pirates, they added a lot of veteran players this offseason. They also have a really strong young core that's headlined, obviously, by Brian Reynolds. They're going to probably get Paul Skeens at some point early in the year. They just have a lot of talent and like good players on that team. Maybe they don't end up winning the division. I don't think they will. But a wild card spot to me is not out of the question. I think the Pirates are definitely going to be better. And they're a team that maybe it's not this year, but next year could end up being like a real threat to win that division. I can't believe I'm actually saying that about the Pirates, but they've done a good job of building that roster and extending their young core. And I'm buying Pirate stock. I really am.
No, I believe in the Pirates, and they're in my wild card picture for sure. And I think they're going to have an interesting year. But I'm not picking them to win the division. Do I think they can't win the division? No. Like I said, the only team that can't win the division is the St. Louis Cardinals. And therefore, congratulations on the St. Louis Cardinals for winning the division. It's going to happen, tragically. In the NL West, going with the Rockies here. We can move on. Yeah. You also have the Rockies, Robert, I assume?
Oh, yeah, that was unquestioned. Yeah, the Rockies by 1 million games in that division.
Yeah, everyone else is going to play 162. The Rockies are going to play 1 million so that they could be 1 million ahead of the remainder of the division. I don't think that the Dodgers are going to be so distracted by the Shohei Ohtani situation that they are not going to win the NL West. I think they're going to win it by a significant number of games. I do have the San Francisco Giants in the postseason. So I think that's the one that I'm going to pinpoint this year. I think I had the Diamondbacks last year. I have the Diamondbacks out this year, and I've got the Giants in their spot in the wild card race. So apologies to the Arizona Diamondbacks. You served me well. It's not often that a surprise team wins a wild card and then the next year just builds on that. When they're in an 84-win team, that they just, then now we get to 92, now 96, now 98. Oh, what a linear path. Like, I think it's more likely the D-backs win 79 games and Corbin Carroll is top 5 in MVP than I think it is they win 91 and replicate their run from last year. Though we'll certainly find out. Robert, where do you stand on this? And again, Rockies obviously in a walk, but beyond that, who else do you believe in?
You know, if the Rockies somehow win that division, that would be the funniest thing in baseball history. But unfortunately for the Rockies, the Dodgers are going to end up being like 50 games over the Rockies by the end of the season. Like, I give me the Dodgers in that division by a lot. And then I also agree. I think the second best team in that division is the Giants. After that, I think it's Arizona, and then number 4 is the Padres. Sorry, Drew. I realize that you're probably not going to like that answer, but I think that's going to end up being how that division ends up playing out. I think the Padres still could add to their outfield. I think Tommy Pham is someone who is still an option for them, but how much is he really going to move the needle for them? That much I don't know. But yeah, I think right now it's clear and definitive that the Dodgers are the best team in that division. Probably they look more like an all-star team than an actual like baseball team at this point, which I don't know if I phrased that properly, but at least made sense in my head. And the Giants and the Diamondbacks and then the Padres. So, that's a good question by Cap NJ.
That's a great question.
That's, oh my goodness. That's one of the best questions in the history of the show there. Give me the Rockies.
Give me the Rockies as well, just because I think the Dodgers are going to be more of a regular season juggernaut than either the Astros or the Rangers. And I think I like the A's roster a little bit. I like the scrappiness potential of the A's roster a little bit more than I like the Rockies. So I think this is not, I'm not saying the Dodgers are romping to the World Series. I don't think they created an unfair super team. I don't think they tilted the scales of baseball logic and reason. I think they're a very, very good team that's going to perform very, very well in the regular season. I do not think the Rockies are going to do much of anything. And I think the Astros and Rangers are two exceptional postseason teams that are going to both win between 89 and 93 games. And I just don't think the A's are going to be that far behind that win total.
No, I agree with that. And if say they somehow finished 50 games under a team that won 89 or 90 games, I mean, winning 40 games would be pretty embarrassing. So I'm right there with you. I think the floor, the floor and also the ceiling of the Dodgers is what makes this an easy pick for me. I think the Rockies could end up finishing even over 50 games behind the Dodgers when it's all said and done. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but yeah, I think that's definitely in play at this point.
Yeah, it's hard for me to find much to believe in. Although, congrats to Ezekiel Tovar, big extension. Good job getting that done by the Colorado Rockies. Our World Series champion. We'll give you a little bonus to some awards picks at the end of this show. They are not set in stone. We reserve the right to change them at any time. I got the Phillies in the playoffs. I got the Giants in the playoffs. And then insert NL Central team here in that additional wildcard spot. Could be the Brewers. I had the Brewers on the sheet. I'm backtracking. I honestly think the Reds will probably find a way to sneak in there, but who knows? Yankees, Astros, Mariners for me. If I don't have the Astros winning the division, I got to have them in a wild card spot. Sorry to the Rays, Jays, Tigers, Pirates, and my World Series pick. I think the Rangers mashed their way back to the World Series. I think the Braves finally get there again, and I think the Braves win a World Series battle with the Texas Rangers. Braves, Dodgers, NLCS, Rangers, Astros, ALCS rematch.
Wow. That's I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. Plus, you can't betting against Bruce Bochy is usually not a good idea. So I respect that you have him going back there. I will say, I'm going to bet against Bruce Bochy. We're zigging and zagging again here. So my World Series prediction here is going to end up being the Phillies over the Astros. That is my World Series prediction. That is what I've got. Write it in stone, lock it up. It's happening. Phillies over Astros. And Philadelphia's going to go crazy. So that's my prediction. I could end up looking like a total idiot again. I expect both teams to make the postseason, so we got that going for us. But that's what I'm going to go with. Although I do like your Braves pick.
I like my Braves pick too. Yeah, I don't know. Look how many times I got to pick the Braves year in, year out. Someday they'll probably prove me right. Although people have been saying that about the Dodgers for a decade as well. They did it. They got their 2020 World Series. That counts in my book, fully counts, but they're still searching. They're unfulfilled. Braves fans, hasn't been that long. 2021, that was a 162 game season, but I believe in the Braves. I think they're going to get themselves another one. Award winners. I went off the map. Here because last year I had Logan Webb as my NL, and he ended up finishing second, and that's fantastic.
The hell of a pick.
Couldn't do it again. Although would I be shocked if he's your Cy Young? No. I'm going to go with Zach Wheeler in the NL. Although I will acknowledge that coming off a contract extension, typically more likely to disappoint immediately after that in the aftermath than they are to have their best season. But I'm going to go with Zach Wheeler because I'm going to go with my gut. In the AL, Cole Reagans, your AL Cy Young Award winner, feels like that random Greinke year.
Oh, shit.
Feels like that random Greinke year when he emerged with a bad Royals team and just was the talk of baseball. And at the narrative built in April and May and June to the point where in the second half of the season, you were looking for reasons to vote for anyone else rather than like fairly assessing things. The discourse has changed since then. Maybe it'll be different, but it does feel like if Cole Reagans starts the year like 7-0 with a 1-1-2, he's going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He's going to be the guy everyone's talking about. And then you're going to be looking for reasons not to give him the Cy Young. AL NL MVP, I have Juan Soto, Mookie Betts. Pretty chalky picks there. And Rookie of the Year, Jackson Holiday and Jackson Churio, because I couldn't resist picking double Jacksons. And I think Jackson Holiday will be there soon enough. Assess my picks on a scale of 1 to 10, please.
I honestly, the Cole Reagans pick I think it's like honestly like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I freaking love the boldness there. I think that was sneaky freaking awesome. So, and plus, like, I can't doubt you, especially since you were on the Logan Webb train last year. The fact that you called that when you did, it's good work. That's really good work. So
there we go.
I respect the boldness because I most definitely was not bold with mine. I was pretty basic with mine. So as far as the AL Cy Young, give me Corbin Burns. I think he's going to end up having a huge year in his free agent year, and then he's going to end up cashing in as a free agent next offseason. In the National League, I will have Spencer Strider. I think right now he's the favorite, and I'm a huge Spencer Strider fan. I think he's fantastic, and he's also going to be on a Braves team that's going to win a lot of games, and I think that's going to end up being he's my pick there.
He was my number 2. I was almost going to flip the Wheeler to Strider, and then I was just like, I might as well say something kind of crazy. I'll let you take Strider.
No, I'll tell you. No, it was good. It was a good pick. I liked it. But AL MVP is Adley Rutschman. I think that Orioles team is going to be awesome, and I think this is the year that Adley Rutschman just goes absolutely berserk. The NL, I'm sorry, but I'm going Shohei Ohtani. That is a guy that, if I was a betting man, sorry, I would take Ohtani.
It's impossible to interpret that any other way other than you believe in Ohtani. No problematic interpretations here.
The fact you just came up with that off the top of your head, you're too good at this. You're too good. And then I'll go the rookie of the years. I will go AL. I'll go Wyatt Langford. That guy is a future star. I have been hearing about him for ages, and I cannot tell you how high the Rangers are on him. You talk to people with and around the Rangers, and they just gush about him. So I'm going Wyatt Langford there. And then for the National League, there's a few different options that you could have gone with here, or that I could have gone with, but I'm going with Jackson Chourio. And I think his offensive potential is just outrageous. The fact he's as young as he is and is going to make his major league debut on opening day. I'll tell you, I covered the Brewers for 3 or 4 years for The Athletic, and I have never heard people in that organization gush about a prospect more than they have Jackson Chourio. I've heard them talk about Corbin Burns when he was coming up. Obviously, I was there for the Keston Hiura call up, and just how good he was. And obviously, things didn't pan out in Milwaukee, but I've never heard any people in that organization gush like this about a prospect. I think Chourio is going to end up being the guy that wins it. Although his defense, or lack thereof, is one thing to watch. I think that could end up being a real concern there for him.
Yeah, well, he's 20. We'll see. We'll see how he develops. Most people do not have their fully rounded skill set at that point in time, and he is getting a big chance on opening day. Again, with a Brewers team that has moderate expectations, many discounting them, although perhaps not on the Baseball Insiders, where we're giving them a fair shake. Julio Teheran, yes or no, will be in that Brewers rotation in like a week and a half, right?
I mean, he does have familiarity there with him, or with that team, but I don't know who it's going to be. But all I'm going to say is that they're open to adding another arm if the price is at the right spot. That is what I'm going to say. That is my official comment on that one.
Yeah. Well, we seem to have done our job here today. The comment section gave you a whole bunch of L's for your picks. And now someone who I know watches every show has written Robert and Adam suck. So clearly we've accomplished our goals by doing a full season preview. Even our most dedicated listeners say that we're terrible now. And perhaps new viewers feel the same way. Job well done. Mission accomplished, Robert.
No, that was a job well done. That was a good show. We obviously angered some folks. So I'm sorry, Drew. There was no disrespect for you at all. That's although Jacob, that was plenty of disrespect. And I'll have a tweet coming at you very shortly. You're not gonna like this one, Jacob. You are.
You never do. Do you ever?
No. All my tweets at him are just brutal. So get on, Jacob.
And they end up in my notifications too. That's how you know it's good. Well, we will see everybody back here on Monday, but stay tuned on Thursday. I'll hopefully have some content for you from Cincinnati, a place I never expected I would be reporting from. Very important note as well. We've just been asked to go back to hitting the bong because our picks are hot trash. Sure. I guess I will. I'm going to go ahead and hit that bong. I got, 4:13? Yeah, I got a bong to hit, so I got to get out of here. Robert, presumably you also have to go hit a bong.
Of course. What else do I have to do on a Monday afternoon?
Monday, it's still pretty early. Not quite time for dinner yet. I actually have it on my Google Calendar, like 4:15 to 4:22. Hit giant bong and then make more 2024 season picks. So got to get that done. If you have not yet signed up using the promo code Baseball Insider DraftKings, your first bets are going to be insured if you use our code. Join the Discord if you haven't. Seen plenty of people from the Discord community in the comments today. We love to see that. Although, again, many of them said that we suck shit. So don't love to see that. We're off to a bad start of this season for sure.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I guess the only place to go from this point is up. But Yeah, I was going to issue a response to that, but I can't. Yeah, holy cow, boy, that's one way to end the show.
I'm surprised that people are saying the prediction feels so off. A lot of these are, I feel like a lot of these are pretty chalky. But you know what? Like, hey, bring it to us. If you got questions and comments, we welcome it. We're not going to shut off the discourse. People who say these picks are bad. Hey, maybe the picks are bad. Last year they certainly were. So.
No, I mean, that's genuinely the thing here is that like it couldn't be any worse than last year. Like if we're somehow worse than last year, then we're in some serious trouble. And I think this year we're gonna end up like we're gonna be okay.
Did we say the Padres were gonna finish last in the NL West? That's what the comments are saying right now.
No, we didn't say that. We said the Rockies.
We didn't say that. We said the Rockies are going to finish 55 games behind the Dodgers. That's
okay. Yeah, 177 memorabilia. That's not what we said at all. It's gonna this is what I said, and you can even go back in the show to check. 1 Dodgers, 2 Giants, 3 Diamondbacks, 4 Padres, and 5 is going to be the Rockies. Like that's like you can come at us for stuff that we did say, but like don't come at us for that. That's what's that about?
I don't know. I don't think we're going to let Jacob host a show. Maybe though, you never know. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us. Stay tuned for some weird content later in the week from Cincinnati. Probably. I don't have much experience in that city. I'm excited to see it. If you got tips for me, let me know. If you've got some sort of hearing impairment that makes you think that we picked the Padres to finish last in the NL West, go get that checked out. Otherwise, we'll see you right back here Monday with a brand new show. Robert Murray, thanks as always, man.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see you guys for the next show. And the active comment section today, we appreciate you for that. And Adam Weinrib, good show today. Appreciate you.
Good show. Appreciate you. We did our job, and now it's time for the Major League Baseball teams to do theirs. Make us proud. Make our picks count. We'll see everybody right back here next Monday. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.